Okay, welcome to this free training video / case study. In this video, we're going to go over the step-by-step process that we used to take Jonathan from 1.4k to 12k per month in his fitness coaching business online. Okay, so we helped Jonathan, a fitness coach, capture 112 warm leads and generate over 12k per month in profit in under 60 days. And this was without spending a dime on ads or sending any cold DMs. Okay, above 90% profit margins and working no more than 15 hours per week as well. So this is Jonathan. My name is Kieran, and in this document I'm going to show you the exact method of how I help Jonathan, a fitness coach, replace his 9 to 5, break past that 2k per month plateau and get to over 12k a month in profit in under 60 days. So today I'm going to go over the exact formula in great detail, so you're not going to want to miss this. So put away your phone, close all your other tabs and pay attention. If you want to build and scale a highly profitable coaching business and you follow this formula, I promise you'll be able to create similar results for yourself in a short space of time. So here's a screenshot of the responses Jonathan received over the course of 60 days through his Google form, which we implemented into a sale funnel. So 112 responses. These are all people who willingly put their personal and situational details forward to be contacted by Jonathan, so they're all warm leads, ready to go. So first of all, who's this training for? Okay, first of all, it's for personal trainers, so you need to be a qualified personal trainer, ideally who's been in the industry for a couple of years. You know how to get results, but you just want to scale to 5 to 20k in the next 90 days online. Okay, if that sounds like you, then this is for you. If you've been a coach for a while now, but you just aren't quite scaling at the pace that you know you should be, this is for you. If you have the expertise and experience you know people will benefit from, but you're just unsure how to efficiently package this up and sell it at a premium price, then this is for you. If you're feeling restricted and burnt out because the majority of your income is coming from face-to-face PT sessions and you want to transition more online, then this is for you. Now, who is this not for? If you're just looking for a get-rich-quick scheme and you're not willing to put in the hard work, it's not for you. If you aren't actually that bothered about scaling your coaching business, then this is not for you. If you aren't really that passionate about helping a lot of people and getting results, this isn't for you. If you don't feel like you have enough expertise to teach people and change lives. If you've just gotten your PT qualification, then this probably isn't for you, okay? Because this is going to have a lot of emphasis on the sort of business and marketing side of things. So, you need to already know how to get results. So here's the truth about coaching offers that society, other coaches, and even your own mind will stop you from believing. And that is that you can absolutely build and scale a coaching business to consistent 10k plus months. And that's without running ads, no sending cold DMs, and you don't even need to have a big following on social media either. However, most coaches aren't capable of this solely by relying on the information that they were taught when acquiring their certification, or from what they learn by just training people. People put a lot of emphasis on how many years of experience they have, but the actual art of teaching someone is only half the battle. To be a really good coach, you need to also know how to get clients on board and then get them results. So the online world is a completely different ballgame, but just because it's different, that doesn't mean it's difficult, okay? You just need to kind of know what to be doing and what to be prioritizing. So from talking to around 300 coaches over the last few months, I've come to realize that almost all of them don't fundamentally understand how to, one, speak directly to their audience's problems. Okay, there's a lot of people just trying to target everyone and anyone, and it doesn't work. Number two, they don't know how to properly funnel their audience to a no-brainer offer that their audience desperately needs and wants. Again, they're just trying to accommodate everyone. And number three, they don't know how to build relationships with the audience that feels natural and organic rather than it feels salesy and pushy. But if you're watching this video right now, you're already on the right track to learning how to avoid these simple mistakes. So, a limiting belief that you need to protect yourself from. is that the fitness industry is too saturated. This couldn't be further from the truth. You know, health and fitness applies to absolutely everyone. And each year that goes by, more and more people are getting into the fitness industry. So people are always looking for the kind of new thing / person. And when they find them, they will always latch on and happily pay for the education, guidance, and that clear, proven roadmap to success. So if you want that person to be you, then keep watching, because in this breakdown, we're going to go over exactly, one, how to speak directly to your target audience and build a loyal tribe of buyers. Really important part there. We're not just looking for followers, we're looking to build an audience of potential buyers. Okay, number 2, how we managed to help Jonathan get so many applicants that he was barely able to keep up with the amount of sales calls he had to take. And number 3, how to get over 12k a month in profit and while staying over 90% profit margins. Number 4, how to do all this without sending a single cold DM or running a single paid advertisement. Okay, there's a lot of coaches out there that will send you down the paid advertisement route, but it's really not that necessary, and there's a lot of uncertainty. You could spend $1,000 and not get anything back. Okay, it's not necessary. So before we dive in, just a little background about how I got here. I've been a coach for 10 years now. I started as a personal trainer, and then I transitioned to online coaching. During lockdown, I started an e-commerce brand, which I managed to scale to 6 figures in around 1 year. And this really gave me the motivation to really dial in the business and marketing side of the coaching business. Because I wanted to help more people, but also have more money which I could invest back in the business. So to do this, I accessed multiple courses and information products from industry leaders so that I could fully understand the art of scaling a coaching business from start to finish. And during this time, while developing my offer, because obviously at this time I had no social proof, I just kind of made it my mission to talk to as many people as possible. I spoke to 100 coaches before I even got started, and that's when I met Jonathan on Facebook. So he had been a PT for a good few years, but he was just kind of stuck at that 1,200 to 2,000 per month mark, and he needed help. So we decided to work together. I told Jonathan to leave it with me, so based on all the information he had given me, I started to build out his content strategy, crafting a high converting funnel for him, and also designing the streamlined sales process, and most importantly, engineering his no-brainer offer. Okay, so on the June 1st, we put things into motion. The new ecosystem framework that we created for Jonathan worked so well that within 8 weeks, he cash collected over 17 grand. Okay, Jonathan's average week right now is between 2,000 and 3,000. That's more than his previous monthly income. So this is an organic marketing framework that I learned from the best in the industry. And now after trial and error, I'm going to break it down for you all step by step so that you can start leveraging this to acquire more clients online. I'm going to go through everything we did for Jonathan, the entire process from A to Z, which you can use to accomplish these results. So I just want to put this out there so you can, launch a successful online coaching business and at least triple your revenue in the next 90 days. It's really simple stuff, but you've just got to know what to prioritize and how to do things correctly. So to run a successful coaching business, it's important to understand all the moving parts that are required to operate one at a high level. You need to think of it like a machine. It's got various moving parts. They all need to be running smoothly for the whole thing to work well. So when you understand each moving part, then that allows you to ensure each part is functioning efficiently and with sufficient volume to meet the goals that you've set yourself. So what are the parts that make up the machine? So before anything, you need to get your offer dialed in. You need to know exactly who you're targeting. Don't be the person that tries to target everyone online, because it's simply not going to work. You can get away with that in person, because obviously you're not going to turn someone down if they want PT from you. But in the online world, the algorithm needs to know exactly who you want to be targeting. Okay, so when you've nailed that, then you move on to the marketing pieces. How are you going to generate attention to your offer? Then how are you going to convert them? How are you going to nurture them? So, okay, in the sales pieces, how do you go from capturing the interest of someone to then getting them onto a sales call and then obviously converting them into a client? Number 3 is the client intake. So the onboarding process, client indoctrination process. These are all very important to keep confidence and motivation high when you take on new clients. And then obviously the most important part, this is how you get people results, is, how are you going to educate them? How are you going to keep them accountable? How are you going to ensure that they succeed? And also you need to be sure that you're always taking on feedback so that you can make sure that you're giving the best service possible. Okay? Your job is just to merely increase the volume that all the pieces of the machine can handle at a given time. So, distilled down, here's the 4-part system. Now, when you begin to apply systems thinking to the process, everything becomes extremely easy. So let's get into how we optimized each stage of the system for Jonathan so that he was no longer held back by inefficiencies, which allowed him to almost 6 times his revenue in under 60 days. Okay, so first off, we've got the offer. One of the main reasons why Jonathan was struggling to get online clients was because it was difficult to understand what exactly he was selling and who would benefit the most from it. On the very few sales calls that he managed to have per month, he would simply jump on and offer them weekly check-ins, a workout and a diet plan. It's simple, but it's not effective. Now, at a first glance, I bet most people watching this would think this is normal and this is just standard practice for an online coach. People get sucked into the idea of being open to as many people as possible, as I said before, but this couldn't be further from the truth. The more vague your messaging is, you end up being only being able to market and sell the deliverables that you offer, as opposed to pivoting that to creating the outcome in a person's head. So a workout and a diet plan triggers zero emotion, and it means you don't stand out from any of the other coaches doing the same thing. So instead of selling the process, sell the outcome. Okay, so what did we do? We changed the packaging of the deliverables. We threw in specific value adds, and we changed the price point to optimize for larger one-time purchases to capture as much of the customer lifetime value upfront as possible. So before, it was very generic plan that he was offering, just monthly, the check-in calls, the diet plan, the workout plan, all for $200 per month. And here's the new and improved offer and deliverables. So the offer statement, I help men level up their career by optimizing their health, performance, and productivity. And here are all the deliverables. So you can see quite a lot of it is the same thing, but we just make it sound a bit fancier. We make it sound like it's tailored towards the people that he's trying to target. And we also just try to bulk up the value as well. So they would get access to an app, a private network where they'd be able to talk to other people on the same journey, access to different tools like habit trackers, and also just like a little welcome pack as well. These are all things you can use to, instead of just trying to be the lowest price possible, why don't you have a higher price and then make sure the value matches that, okay? So for 3 months, $1,997, and then for 6 months, $3,497. So we'd obviously incentivize some people staying on longer and making that commitment. So even though the costs the client $1,397 more than before, it's now become a lot more appealing because we're talking directly to a certain type of people, and we have stacked the value in their favor instead of advertising things that are generic and apply to anyone. So not to mention, when people are paying for something month to month, they will constantly be looking for reasons to rationalize why they shouldn't be paying for it anymore. Things like, well, I've already learned all the information, so I don't need to pay for this anymore. Or, for example, everything is going well, I can now do this on my own. A flat monthly fee results in less emotionally invested clients. So not only does it allow you to collect more cash up front by charging for 3 or 6 months, but it means that the client will be more motivated to get their money's worth while in the program, as there is no way to back out. And instead of running from the situation when it gets hard, they tackle it head on. Okay, so what's the outcome? After implementing all these changes, Jonathan was actually able to close deals much easier and collect 10 times more cash up front. So all this was based around his ideal persona. I know it's in the wrong order, but if you've already got an audience and you already know the kind of people you're working with, then ideally you want to craft your offer around your audience, and then just tweak from there. So Jonathan's target demographic was he was resonating with kind of males who were 25 to 35, and we wanted to position Jonathan as a premium provider, so we aimed his messaging at established individuals who had careers. This helped us avoid people who couldn't afford to work with him. We used Jonathan's ICP to craft the offer using questions people had asked him along the lines of, what kind of food and exercise best complement a busy lifestyle? How do I perform better in the gym and also at work? Because he's, quite a career-driven person himself, these were the kind of people who were following him, and his audience already had a bias towards sort of health and performance training. So we just constructed the offer and deliverables to solve their problems at scale. So now we move on to the kind of the content and the funnel. This is the most important part of the whole system, and that's basically traffic. You can't do anything without traffic. So content, you're essentially a content creator, right? If you're an online coach, probably the most important thing you'll do is create content. So you need to have this in your daily habits, your weekly habits. You need to be creating content on a regular basis. So, without content, there's no traffic. Without traffic, there's no leads. Without leads, you're not going to get any sales calls. Without sales calls, no clients. And then obviously you need clients to get results. And when you have results, this is going to cause a snowball effect, which is going to cause you to get more clients. But only if you're actually leveraging these testimonials and transformations. You need to be putting client wins, all this stuff out on social media as much as possible. You need to be using it in your content, referring back to it, and this is really going to motivate people to take action. So yeah, as I said, if you're not documenting and showcasing every client success story, you're simply leaving it to their imagination, and their brain will just simply shut it down if there aren't enough people winning from what you offer. It's as simple as that. So now we've broken each stage down of the client acquisition process. You can now see how much easier it becomes to identify inefficiencies and flaws, because if one area is lacking, we can simply put measures in place to increase quality or volume to the area that is letting us down. With that being said, none of the parts of the system can function without traffic. And the higher the volume of quality traffic, the better the other parts of the system run and the more money Jonathan would make. So the first step of the entire process was to ensure we were driving high quality traffic so that the other parts of the system could run at maximum efficiency. So when we initially started working together, a lot of Jonathan's content was very visually orientated, and he rarely spoke in his videos, which caused a severe lack of connection with his audience. This lack of routinely speaking to his audience posed a serious problem, because no one buys from an Instagram billboard. They buy from people speaking directly from the heart, and those demonstrating competence and problem-solving capability. So we applied the ecosystem framework to Jonathan's content so that not only would it be more engaging, but everyone who watched it would feel more connected to him, consider him more of an authority figure, and be more likely to purchase his coaching. So here are the pillars that make up the ecosystem framework we implemented into Jonathan's content to start driving that high quality traffic. So you've got an emphasis on the outcome. You need to get people imagining their state as their desired outcome. You need to put people in that frame of mind to get excited about it, and that's going to cause them to take action. You also need to be showing expertise on a regular basis. So this is kind of more theory, more kind of exercise, nutrition, sleep, that sort of thing. People need to know that you know your stuff. Pillar 3 is engagement factor. So Instagram stories are good for this. You can gauge how interested people are and then simply reach out to them. a more kind of negative spin on the first one. You need to have people imagine the consequences of not taking action and kind of magnify the pain points. And then pillar number 5 is just authenticity. Showing your own life, what you're doing, the work you're putting in, etc. So to understand why we applied these pillars to Jonathan's content, you need to understand what the catalyst for someone buying coaching truly is and how content relates to that. So we'll start with what most fitness coaches and PTs do wrong when posting and trying to get clients. So this is the incorrect way. They just post too much information and education. It comes across as robotic. They post tips and tricks videos, which is kind of, it's quite 2010. People, although it's good to show your expertise, you also need to kind of take a step back and get people motivated about the journey as a whole instead of just random tips. They record videos with low energy and speak too passively on the topics that they're trying to cover. They talk about the what and not the how and the why. They try to be too perfect on camera instead of being relatable with the audience. And number 6, they just post stuff like food pics, selfies, that just has zero value to the audience. Something you got to know is when people are scrolling through social media, they're in a selfish state of mind. They're looking for things that bring them a lot of value or entertainment. So if you're just posting a food pic or without actually explaining the recipe or how you make it, or you're just posting selfies, no one gives a crap, to be perfectly honest. It actually gives them no value whatsoever, and the competition is too high these days for people to get clients by doing stuff like that. So the types of content mentioned above are horrendous for standing out from the crowd and do absolutely nothing for putting a fire under your audience's ass to take any sort of action. This kind of content will definitely keep you below 2K a month and relying on face-to-face PT for the rest of your life. Your content needs to be inspiring, belief-shifting, and valuable. So before I started working with Jonathan, most of his posts were static, regular photos, and he barely used short-form content. So then we started making changes to his thought process around the feelings and motivations he needed to be programming into his audience. Think of it like this. Education and information-based content puts you in the friend zone with your audience's mind. Yes, it's useful, but if this is all you provide, then strangers on the internet are never going to give you their money because they don't see you as a real person. Authoritative and urgency-based content frames you as a leader and a guide in your audience's mind. And think about it. What really makes someone a coach? A coach is fundamentally a leader and a guide before anything else. This is why just because someone has all the information and knowledge, they for the most part aren't always the most successful. So here's exactly how we pivoted Jonathan's content over to a much better strategy, which now generates much more attention to his offer. Over the course of 1 to 2 weeks, we had Jonathan stop doing only visually oriented content and start doing more talking head videos on TikTok and Instagram, doing one of each a day. These videos not only included some green screen style videos and some visual elements to help maintain engagement, but a majority were actually more motivation and urgency based rather than just talking about health and fitness theory. In fact, there was a direct correlation between how little Jonathan talked about actual fitness and lifting and how many leads were completing the new application that we built. More on that later. So the more motivational and personal development oriented the content became, the faster and faster the leads started to come in. Yes, you heard that right. The less we spoke about actual fitness, the more people were asking to be coached. So the ecosystem framework was working in real time. People want to be led and motivated, so they choose to align with the person that leads and motivates, not just the person that has the most knowledge. So now we're going to move on to what we actually did on each platform. So TikTok, the strategy was simple. we had Jonathan post one talking head TikTok per day that was motivational, urgency orientated in order to trigger people to take some form of action. So whether that action was taken was going and following him on Instagram, or going directly through his funnel and applying to work with him, or just encouragement to watch more of his content. It didn't matter as long as there was some sort of call to action there. We wanted them to be more ingrained in in Jonathan's new content ecosystem that we were building. So TikTok works best as a tool to generate attention, not necessarily to generate conversions, for coaches anyway. So when you get that attention, it's just about funneling them through the system to the rest of your content. So Instagram Reels, the other half of the traffic generation. Reels are hands down the simplest and most effective part of the entire strategy. We had Jonathan do a 50-50 split of two different types of videos. So the video style one was just short visual authority builders. So these videos consisted of Jonathan basically just practicing what he preaches, putting in the work, working behind the scenes, his gym sessions, that sort of thing. They were no longer than 10 seconds and they had a trending audio attached, a brief amount of text, and then a big caption. This ticked quite a few different boxes. These kind of videos are great for generating views, and they're quite low effort to create as well. It's just B-roll with text over the top, really easy. Video style 2 was ones that was incentivizing action. So similar to what we did on TikTok, but the average length being a bit shorter, but with a considerable amount of urgency and motivation in them. So these would be like talking head videos. And as stated before, these videos are amazing for priming the audience to take action on their situation and constantly reminding them that they could be in a better place. The reason we did this 50-50 split was so that we could continue running a large volume of traffic while also including videos containing messaging that primed his audience to take action on their situation. So if you think of these ones more like a bit more generalized, that had the potential to get more views, and these ones, because they were quite specific to his target audience and they were talking head videos, these would be more talking to the audience that he already had, as opposed to getting a lot of traffic through the door. So similar to TikTok, we were firing these videos out on a once daily basis so that a reasonable pace of content production could be maintained for a long period of time without sacrificing quality. Instagram stories. This is the best part for acquiring leads. There's no question about it. It's the most powerful asset when it comes to marketing. There's no argument. Stories are a complete cheat code when it comes to building raw connections with the audience at hand and constantly broadcasting any message we want, or to simply prime the audience to take action. And here's exactly how we used it in Jonathan's content strategy. So every day there would be 3 to 6 stories, a good morning story, because basically you just want the most low effort stories possible that gets your face and name in front of the people on a daily basis. So like a motivational quote, receipts for work he was putting in, so to display work ethic and consistency, a motivational urgency story, client wins if possible. Again, like I said before, you just want to throw this in your audience's face as much as possible. So if you've got client wins to display daily, then get them on your story. Talking head videos of like opinions and things like that. Additionally, on a twice a week basis, we would fire out 2-step stories with call to actions. So it would usually be some sort of like a transformation, explain a little bit about the transformation, how you got them from A to B, and then you would follow up with like a sort of a motivational urgency story with a call to action saying, if you want similar results, then click yes on the poll or DM me the word, fat loss, something like that. Just to kind of take action. But you don't want to be too salesy and do this every single day. So just kind of on like a twice a week basis is fine. So these story flows displaying consistent discipline the best and most ideal parts of Jonathan's life, and showing social proof results multiple times a week drove an incredible amount of leads. So the more we hammered motivation and urgency, paired with client wins, the more intense the lead flow became day after day. So Jonathan is now getting warm leads daily. So now I'll show you how we actually directed all the high quality traffic we generated from Jonathan's new content strategy, and where we went with it after that. So next is the funnel itself. So beforehand, there was too much friction and confusion with Jonathan's funnel. The mistake that he was making was that, and this is what a lot of coaches do, is they run all their traffic to a multi-page website directly from their content. Because of this, all the people that were coming from his fast-paced content and stories had a hard time focusing, and basically they just didn't know what to do. There'd be too many options and there wouldn't be a clear road or path to take. So this just led them to not making any decision, and quite a lot of them just dropping out of his funnel. So yeah, there was too many distractions. There was no clear flow of how the customer should be directed, and Jonathan was essentially just putting the power in the hands of the customer, relying on them to really make the effort to come on board. So we knew this has to be reconstructed ASAP. So this is how we fixed it. We got rid of his website, and we just replaced it with a streamlined application form that had this question and copywriting structure. So these are just the summarized version, but basically, it would be, ideally you would use Typeform, I think that's right, but as opposed to Google Forms, it'll show them the question one at a time. Maybe you can do that on Google Forms as well, I'm not sure, but it'll show you the questions, it'll show them the questions one at a time. So as they're working through the form, they're making micro commitments. So you would just start off with a nice easy question, then you would kind of go into what they want to achieve, what their biggest struggles are, magnifying the pain points, just more micro commitments. So in the next 90 days, what's the best possible outcome? Also, you need to kind of take into consideration the wording as well. If we decide you're a good fit, if you're accepted into the program, this is just psychology at its finest. It's just creating that authority in their head, and it's just going to make them want to work with you even more. So as we go along, we're creating authority, we're filtering out potential bad clients, we're creating exclusivity and urgency, collecting micro commitments, and then we just finish off with what's your number. And if they get to this point, then they're an extremely warm lead. Okay, and after finishing the application questions, to even seal the deal that extra bit, they were immediately sent to an end screen that reads, "Thank you for your application. You will be contacted when open spots are available." Okay, which just creates more perceived value and generates more FOMO in the prospect's mind, fear of missing out. All these little things, like your wording, all contribute to how much of a premium provider you appear to be from an outsider looking in. It's so simple, yet most don't even think about this. Now, before we go on to the next stage, I'll explain why the application massively outperformed the results of the website he had. Reason number one is that now the prospect only has one path they can take. The only reason that they would possibly exit the page is if they aren't interested in coaching. Number two is that the copy we wrote for the application was crafted in a way that frames him as an authority and also creates urgency around their desired state. Number three, before Jonathan would go straight to the consultation with everyone who showed interest, which would mean he would waste a lot of time talking to people who were not actually a good fit for his program. So he's gone from having 1 to 2 random leads per week, with no idea how qualified they are, to generating 1 to 2 qualified leads per day and having the luxury to pick and choose his dream clients. And this was simply by 500 to 1,000 new people seeing his face every day, and all while continuing to nurture his current audience by blasting out engaging IG stories daily. So short form content done well is literally free advertising. This is why I say you don't need ads unless you're literally scaling up to 100k a month. Food pics, selfies, and scenery photos do not trigger emotions, therefore no action is taken. So now let's go on to the next stage of how we change the customer journey to get Jonathan even more clients on demand. So the next part of the machine is sales. So now we have plenty of leads sat patiently waiting to be contacted by Jonathan. The last touch point was the end screen that said, when we have open spots available, I'll personally contact you. When we set up an automation that would notify Jonathan when someone filled out his application. The reason why this is important is because when someone fills out the application, the longer you leave it after that point, their excitement slowly fizzles out. So it was important that Jonathan texted them within 10 minutes while they were still excited and hot and ready. So he would text them something like this. Hey John, it's Jonathan. I saw that you applied for coaching. Are you ready to, and then insert their desired outcome. Remember that the good thing about this is, because it's quite a niche offer, the desired outcome is going to be the same for like most people, but it's very targeted and it's going to resonate with them. If they didn't respond, then he would just completely leave them alone and not contact them again. And the reason this is because it's a very emotionally motivated purchase when it comes to fitness coaching offers. Like losing weight, that sort of thing. If you're a business to business sort of offer, numerical, it's a lot different because then you've got the logic of them making more money, that sort of thing. But no, you don't want to pressure someone into making this kind of decision. If you pressure them too much, then they will just instantly lose respect for you because it comes across as desperate. However, if they responded with anything remotely positive, we would gauge how badly they wanted coaching, and then we would amplify the pain points, and then finally you would arrange a Zoom call with them. So if you have your booking link in your bio to book calls, one, your show rate will not be as good, but also you don't have the opportunity to pre-qualify them and gauge how badly they actually want coaching. So another benefit to doing it manually is that if the vibe isn't right, then you've got the opportunity to back off and nurture them for longer through your content and conversations. If you learn to say no, this will actually help you massively. So if you put yourself out there to someone that isn't that interested, the power dynamic will shift. This also means that Jonathan isn't jumping on calls with people who aren't really that motivated. Your time as a coach should be spent serving your loyal customers, not convincing people who are half interested to work with you. So Jonathan now goes into sales calls much more confidently because he knows that by the time people actually get onto the call, that they're ready to be coached and get results. So next we go on to the sales call structure. So just to recap, Jonathan is now getting around 1 to 2 leads per day by significantly increasing his traffic to the page, posting content that was optimized for conversions. In the last 30 days before making this video, he had booked 17 calls, 15 of which showed up due to the authority and trust he had built in the customer journey. And he managed to close 6 deals, which resulted in him pocketing 12k in revenue. And he was able to maintain a 40% close rate during these calls, which for a fitness offer for $1,997 is actually really good. Remember, his ability to sell and handle objections will improve over time. The more he leverages case studies and testimonials, the more he will have prospects throwing money at him. So let's dive into how he structured the calls to achieve this close rate. So prior to us helping Jonathan, he was actually following a consultation structure, not a sales call structure. So things like injuries, dietary requirements, likes, dislikes, it doesn't really matter that much. You as a personal trainer should be qualified to deal with all of these things no matter what they are. And because your offer is quite niche, then you know that all of your clients are going to be going on roughly the same program, the same journey, sorry. So these things shouldn't matter until they actually come on board with you. So yeah, the consultation, so to speak, should come after the sales call as a part of the onboarding process, so you can start crafting their training program and whatnot. But all the leads in the world can't fix a bad sales process. So a lot of personal trainers and coaches, they don't really put any emphasis on the sales aspect of the business. And you're selling a service, so it's really important. So here's what we did to fix it. We crafted a new sales call structure for him, which I'll show you below. And this actually increased the prospect's urgency and motivation, so that by the time Jonathan got to the price, they had already convinced themselves that they need it. We also worked on his ability to dig deeper into the why, so that he didn't miss out on key opportunities that would increase the urgency to help close the deal. So here's the summarized version of the new sales call structure that we created, Jonathan. So the intro, nice friendly energy. Ask, is anyone joining us today? You also need to set the tone for outlining the structure of the call, and always be keeping them engaged along the way as well. So a powerful question to ask is, so John, what inspired you to come on the call with me today? This is a great way to get started, and it's going to immediately get them talking about pain points without you specifically asking them about pain points. And remember that it's really important that you dig deep when they answer them. So if they just give you something quite vague, you need to go more than that. You need to go a bit deeper. You need to ask them, what do you mean by that? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Why exactly do you want to achieve this? So you'll do that for about 5 to 10 minutes. Try to get emotional answers about what's holding them back. So after you establish all their situation, their struggles, what's stopping them, etc., you're going to get the micro commitment of, would you like to hear more about our program and how it works? When they say yes, you can flip your word into an assumed close. This is just all to do with the way you word things, and now you're going to explain what's going to happen when they come on board with you. And obviously keep them engaged, like I said before. Ask them if things make sense. Don't just get carried away and talking for like 5 minutes at a time. Afterwards, you can simply ask them, how would you rate the likelihood of our program getting you results and putting their pain points on a scale of 1 to 10? They should say 10 if you've displayed enough confidence and you've given them enough information about the process. If they don't say 10, it's an opportunity for you to find out about more pain points, and you can simply say, okay, thank you. So what would make it from a 7 to a 10? So you're just asking them what would bridge the gap, and if they haven't already mentioned X pain point, then they'll mention it now, and you can address that. And then you just simply tell them about the onboarding process, tell them what the investment is going to be. Key is wording, it's an investment. And then you'll just go from there. Ask them if it's doable and how they would like to move forward. So that's obviously a very summarized version, but you get the idea. You're just building a picture of their situation, their pain points, acquiring micro commitments along the way, and then you just position the offer to be the thing that solves their problems. Obviously, confidence and tonality certainly helps. This will improve over time. So objections, you're going to have objections in probably every single sales call. It's nothing to worry about. It's just about how you deal with it. It doesn't mean that they don't want your program. It's simply just a fight or flight response, because losing a 4-figure sum of money is never going to be that comfortable, and they're just looking for the reassurance that it's the right decision. So you should be so confident in your offer, and you should hopefully know that how much it will benefit their life. Okay, if you're not actually, if you're not that confident in what you're offering, they're gonna sense that. So it's really important that you know exactly how it's going to benefit their life, and how you're going to help them. So just some common objections here. You've obviously got the money one, which you can offer a payment plan. I need to check with a partner. Just with things like this, like I need to think about it, check with a partner. Anything that's getting them off the call to think about it, to then come back to you, you always need to try and rebook a call. You need to get some sort of action from them on the call, which is another kind of commitment. You can also have a guarantee as well, because this kind of adds to the whole no-brainer offer. A lot of it's to do with money as well, so it's just that extra bit of reassurance. If you're finding that you're constantly getting objections and you're not actually closing any deals, it could be any of the following reasons. You haven't educated and inspired them enough before the call, so maybe you're not taking advantage of long form content, for example, which is quite good, like YouTube and stuff. You aren't going deep enough into the why during the pain point questions. You're explaining too much about things that they haven't specifically told you that they need or want. This one's actually really important, because if you're waffling on about stuff that they don't care about, you're going to lose them. You need to listen to what they need. Okay? On these sale calls, you need to be a consultant. I'd even say go as far as like therapist. You need to listen to what their problems actually are and then pitch a solution that solves their problems as an individual. You're not going to say the same thing every single sales call. It depends on what they say. You need to structure it in a way that solves their problems as an individual. You need to be able to repeat their situation back to them better than they explained it to you. They need to trust that you're the one to fix their situation. So, when you get clients on board, so before Jonathan jumped on board with us, majority of his revenue was being generated through face-to-face sessions in the gym he worked from. Because of this, he was time drained during the most valuable hours of the day. So not only was his lifestyle completely tied down, but he was only helping one person at a time. We only have so many hours in a day, so this is not scalable at all. So we had to reconstruct the way he fulfilled his service and also how he managed clients to handle the increased amount of clients that we were getting, to help him regain some freedom. So here's how to help more people, earn more money, and work less. First, let me give you a comparison of what most coaches do to operate their back end versus what we did for Jonathan, which leveled up his efficiency, allowing him to help more people. So here's how most coaches do it. Obviously, countless one-to-ones with clients, draining all your time, allowing the client to spend too much time mulling over thoughts instead of taking action, not optimizing for client performance tracking and daily habits to ensure results. And here's the back end that we basically built for Jonathan. A single one-to-one in the beginning of their program, but then moving to group calls afterwards. This actually helped with motivation. We optimized the client plans for taking action instead of just talking about things. Set up a new system that was dialed in for clients tracking daily actions, so that it was really difficult for them to slip up. So tracking things like macros for the day, lifts, cardio, steps, that sort of thing. And it just keeps them accountable, and then you can also obviously check in with them. And also it's important to instill a ruthless mindset in clients from the get-go so that they would have a smaller chance of slipping up in their goals. This now gives Jonathan the freedom to do anything he wants, and he only has to worry about his video check-ins, which is 15 to 30 minutes per client per week, the group call, which is 1 hour per week, and client onboarding, which is 1 to 2 hours per week for each new client. So if we say that he already had 10 clients and he brought 10 new clients, the service fulfillment for the week is only 11 hours. So if you were to add content on top of that, it is less than 15 hours a week. So the return on investment is outrageous if you optimize everything. And for those who will moan about customer experience, during the time I've been talking to a lot of coaches, I have had people mention this, that contrary to popular belief, group coaching is actually more effective than one-to-one coaching sessions. Remember, because we have niched down his offer, we can justify this because everyone is on a similar journey, okay? If you're just coaching a load of different people, the group coaching sessions aren't going to be as effective. So basically any one-to-one session after the initial sort of onboarding session isn't actually necessary. If a client feels like they need more one-to-ones, it's a byproduct of them not taking enough action on a day-to-day basis, or not being informed enough about why they're doing X, Y, and Z, and why that's going to help them reach their goal. So the service fulfillment, here's how to maximize efficiency on your back end. While discussing Jonathan's service delivery, we had discovered that he was repeating himself a lot to clients. So we told Jonathan to make a course which covered all aspects of his client's needs to reach the goal. So it was things like sleep, nutrition, training, mindset, focus, productivity, and time management. Each section would have a training video where Jonathan would take them through a lesson using Loom, just like I am right now. There would be also a frequently asked questions for each section. Not only this, but when a client had a specific issue or concern, Jonathan would create an evergreen video to send, and he would also add it to a library, and the video would just address the issue in great detail. So if another client raised a similar concern, all he had to do was send over that video and then just expand if needed. And you may be surprised, but this actually got people a lot better results because it pivots their focus to taking action as opposed to just having theoretical conversations. You need to ensure that there is absolutely no room for doubt about what they have to do on a weekly and daily basis for them to get to their desired outcome. I can't stress enough how important clarity is for clients. Remember, you're the expert, but if you're just simply telling them what to do with no justifications or context, they're going to lose motivation and they're not going to see the bigger picture. They need to see the bigger picture and all the steps that lead up to that. Okay, so that's why having a roadmap is so important, and also these kind of learning modules are really key as well. Because after they stop working with you, they need to be able to be completely self-sufficient on their own. Client case studies and testimonials, super important. So as soon as Jonathan had the coach and infrastructure dialed in, we encouraged him to collect as many testimonials as he could so that we could use them for story highlights and for more marketing assets. The compound effect over time, if you're fully leveraging case studies and testimonials, will be exponential. More client acquisition means you'll get more client results if your back end is efficient, and more client results means more client acquisition. It's really that simple. When this social proof snowball started to get momentum, Jonathan would struggle to reply to everyone that filled out the application on the same day. This is how powerful this system is, and the feedback loop, when executed properly and with strong intention behind every single post and IG story. So now that you fully understand how this process works and how effective it is, here's my offer to you. If you're a personal trainer or coach within the health and fitness industry, and you already have some testimonials, you know how to get your clients results, you want to stop trading your time for money, and you want to leave the rat race, and you want to know how to get more online clients, then keep listening. So we will install our organic ecosystem framework into your business so that you can replicate this exact process for you and see similar results in a fraction of the time it will take for you to do it on your own. No ads, no expensive websites, no cold DMs. As soon as you jump on board, there's no extra costs. We're so confident that we can deliver these results that if you don't add at least an extra 5K per month to your revenue in your coaching business in the next 90 days using this system, you don't pay. It's as simple as that. If you want to see similar results to Jonathan and you want us to help do the same for you, then click the Calendly link in the description to book a call with us. Thank you. See you in the next one.